LinkedIn, and YouTube. So welcome everybody. In case you don't know, I'm Rabbi Trinitsky, the People's Rabbi, Director of Chabad of Newfoundland, and I'm honored to be with you again tonight. So we started 5 classes ago. Tonight's class number 6, exploring Tzedakah, poorly translated as charity. Tzedakah comes from the word tzedek, righteousness. We give tzedakah, whether it's money or food or a word of encouragement, we do it because it's the right thing to do. We know and believe that if God bestowed us with a certain blessing, is for us to share it. So even if a person does not have, God forbid, money to share, he could still share a word of encouragement. Sometimes he could share clothing, he could share food. Okay. So we were in the middle of an essay by the Lubavitcher Rebbe about what was special about the giving of the half shekel, the machatz shekel of the Jews in the desert. We're actually coming close to that parsha, that part of the Torah, as far as the Torah reading cycle, right? This week's parsha is Truma, and then Tetzaveh Kisisa. So 2 weeks we're going to be reading about that in the weekly parsha, the weekly Torah portion, about the mitzvah of giving the half shekel. That's how the Jews were counted, because we're not allowed to count Jews. Why? Because one of the reasons that whenever we count, there's room for the evil eye. God forbid, we don't want to have the evil eyes. We don't count people directly. We count through other means. If you have a minyan, you don't count 1, 2, 3, 4 to make sure you have 10. You use the words of a verse as Hoshia Samecha Ovoreiches Nachanelesecha Ureim Naseim Ad Ha'olam, which contains 10 words, and you count each person with one word of the verse, and so on and so forth. Anyway, what we said is what's special with the half shekel, right? Because God told Moses that this is what will lift up the glory of the Jewish nation, the half shekel. The question is why? What's special with the half shekel? The Jews already had a mitzvah, commandment to give tzedakah. And even before the Torah was given, there was a concept of tzedakah. So, we need to understand what that's about. So we're continuing here in subsection number 7, Zayin. Haram asken Yisrael b'koyfet tzedakah matpeh shalish. Mizeh yish lanu gam hidoenitz chizvchol adoidos. From this we have instruction lesson in all generations. Who, not just in that generation, but the generation of Moses. Ubizman abayis nitam temple shah nitnu mchatz shekel b'poel. Actually gave that. It was used to buy the sacrifice. Ele v'kol hashanim, brother. The Torah is eternal. It's about time and space, right? So even though there's no temple today, we could still learn a lesson from it. And in particular in unrevealed events. And this is about Gosha Torah Pasha Kisisa. This is emphasized when we read the Torah, the Pasha of Kisisa, right? Which I mentioned 2 weeks from now. But when the Shabbat is special, besides the regular Torah portion, we take a second Torah scroll and read the Parim. When is that? This is if Rosh Chodesh Adar, the beginning of the month of Adar, is on Shabbat, or the Shabbat before Rosh Adar. Okay, so besides the regular Torah portion, you also take another Torah scroll to read the Parsha of Shabbat, which is essentially the beginning of Kitisa, speak of the half shekel. Okay, Kashakani a Parsha Kesech and Nesinas Machatz shekel bechal levader memikdash. Right, because why is it read at times either Shabbat that is Chodesh Adar or the Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh Adar when Rosh Chodesh doesn't fall on Shabbos? Because the Beis Din, the court, used to remind people who were giving a half shekel on the first of Adar. So the half shekel has an eternal lesson, but the more so when it's the parsha of our week, and the more so it's specifically the parsha of Shkalim, when what's read is only that part of the half shekel, that we need to live with that. The Shabbat, the Shabbos, when we read the parsha of Kisis or Shkalim, there's something new that's added in our lives about V'chaim and Kashmim, and we don't mean just spiritually, but also physically. Shekol Yehudi, for every Jew. Shenaizet Tisa, Sush Ben Israel. This, what happens is, lift up the head of the Jewish people. And this is how are you uplifted? But there being a sense of novelty, something new in your service of God, over how your avoida, your service was before that. Besides what's okay, I think we're continuing. Okay, sorry for the break. Connection issues here. So, besides the okay, I think we're back on. Let's see if we can continue. Beautiful finding day today. All right. So, besides the fact that a person's just keeping the basic minimum commandments, Pashut, yeah, in the most beautiful, special way. That's the way God commanded Torah. What's new, right? In other words, what does he gain? What do we gain? What do we learn from the mitzvah of mechatzis shekel to half shekel? That everything a person does is in a way of matveh shalish, a fiery coin. Bli ta'am v'siba, without any reason or cause. Doesn't he want to do it because this is what he just heard now in the reading of the Torah? Ela b'em shalish, rather way of fire. Lemayl metzir, higher than any shape or form. Avol sechadr boy, shnais matveh shalish u'menav shikro. But even though it's a very spiritual thing, it permeates within you, within us. And he becomes a coin. The coin we said is physical, you could touch it, not so fire. And that's a dichotomy, right? We said that the coin of fire. And the lesson is that everything we do is permeated with this desire just to do it because it's the right thing to do. No limitations at all. And like a person who bows on his own, automatically it becomes a part of you. The lesson in this, in the words of God to Moses, how will the glory of the Jewish people be uplifted? It's not just how to uplift the glory of the Jewish people, that you need to do it. How do you do it? Through atonement given to Tzedakah, in a way that's a fiery coin. It's a coin, it's physical, it affects the and it has no shape like the fire. Next subsection, tzedakah in its purest sense, it permeates all situations and times. A piece of Mavagam, according to his Bikudos understand, Shef Pisha, he begilu b'Shabbos